All right, so we got cut off. So this is now part two. We're going to do it in two parts, which is not a big deal. This part will not take very long. So the things to prioritize, I kind of lost my train of thought whenever I had to go back and get all that stuff in. But the big picture of what to prioritize is going to be, what do you truly want out of your life? Because you're the only one that's responsible for your success. And then I'm going to tell you something that this is very hard to hear, but you're the only sustaining factor in your entire life. Listen, because this is tough to hear. Friends will go, family will go, colleagues will go. Everybody's going to go, right? You're going to go. And that could be people leaving your life. That could people be moving on. That could be acquaintances that you hear from on the holidays. Or that could be those that pass on and that are no longer with you. But the one sustaining factor is you and your legacy. So how do I prioritize that? I never ignore these for this. But my focus is 100% this, because if I'm taking care of what I need to take care of, these will then be taken care of. I hope that makes sense. That's a little bit of a stretch. I wish this was face to face. It'd be so much easier to do that. Okay. What are some other things to prioritize besides life, work, and school? And this is the last question, and I love this. Okay. My jam is hunting and golf and Texas football. You may be able to tell behind me. There's a few things. Golf clubs are actually right there. So I work a fine balance because, and I'm blessed to have an amazing wife, and support system in her, because she allows for those things to happen, and I'm just lucky. But if I do not have those things, not as outlets, but to really take away from drive, because I want to be successful in everything that I do. That's just my push. But if I don't take time to sit back and go, hey, you know what? I want to play that golf tournament on Monday. I'm going to figure out how to make it happen. But I know that in advance because I'm planning it. Now, I had my cousin. He's a musician, and he's playing. He played a show last Friday, and he sends me a text. He's like, hey, I'm playing at whatever it is bar. And I said, man, short notice. You can't do that to me. And then he texted me later the next day, and he said, hey, 2 weeks from now, I'm playing a show. I really want you to be there. And I said, hey, 2 weeks, man, that's a priority. That now becomes a priority. I have the time because now I'm planned out. I'm looking at my day-to-day. I'm looking at my week. I'm looking at my month, whatever it may be. And now I'm going to make that happen. So it's the desires and wants that you can put together with your major focus factors, which should be school and work. Those two things are over here. Hobbies and fun are over here. What is more important, and how can you make them both work? Okay. Again, hopefully I answered that question. So let's look real quick. I'm not going to take much of your time after this, but we're looking at this week. This week has a lot of stuff. This week is financial literacy, and I'm going to give you just a few things. If you go through what to do this week, it tells you to read some pages, look for FAFSA, play the payback reflection, and then the time for payback, and really look at what career you're thinking about with ONET, and then play spent. Okay, once you get done with all of that, the payback and play spent are going to be assignments that you need to drop in the assignment drop box, and they're a grade. Okay, they're super easy, right? They're super easy. But what I want to tell you real quick, I'm going to spend just a few minutes. I'm going to get on my soapbox about this. At Lone Star University Park alone, just our campus, and you actually may be on a different campus, but I'm going to speak from Lone Star University Park. If you look at the big picture of how much money is left on the table every single year, we are looking at tens of thousands of dollars that could be given to you if you simply fill out an application or write a few paragraphs and your college can be paid for. Because the biggest killer, the absolute biggest killer, is that student loan debt. I know a lot of y'all work. You're balancing family, you're balancing work, you're balancing school. Okay? You're doing it right because you're at Lone Star and you're saving on average $16,000 in this process over your 2 years here. So that's huge. What does that break down to? $4,000 a semester. That's gigantic, right? Because once you get into debt, let me tell you how student loans work. I left the University of Texas in 2005 with $84,000 in debt. $84,000, and I'm gonna tell you, it crushed me for years, and luckily I was able to take care of it. How? Only God knows. But the idea of debt is something that you really have to understand. Credit cards are cool, right? Credit cards are really cool until you start off with, oh man, they gave me a $500 credit limit. Let's go out this weekend. All right, let's go to dinner. Let's go to the bar. And then the credit card companies see that you spent $500 on your credit card. Well, now they're going to increase you to $1,000 because they know that you're going to spend it. And what you become is a slave to that debt. And so understanding how that process works is going to be paramount to your success and not leaving college $84,000 in debt. Now, it's understood. It's understood. You may have a few $1,000s. But the idea is to be able to pay off debt immediately. And I'm going to tell you what. Debt is you want to talk about finding time to do stuff? If you're in debt, your do stuff is very limited because of the amount of money that you have to pay off monthly, the inability to get credit. And if you have this idea at a I know some of us are older, but some of us are straight out of high school. I don't even know. That's the devil, right? Understand that you have the ability to choose a career. At this point, I changed majors 8 different times, and then education apparently is the one that I was supposed to go in, right? And you'll never get rich doing that. But if you look at paying for college, look at FAFSA. There's grants available. There are scholarships available. If you can leave college with a very minimal amount of debt, you are winning overall. And it's going through this financial literacy practice, I really want you to look at the numbers. It's not just click the buttons and go, because this is an educational process that you really, really need to take serious in understanding that debt will okay, here's the deal. $10,000 in credit card debt. That credit card company wants you to pay that for the next 30 years at $250 a month for 30 years. Seriously? Right? What could you do with that money? Do the math, right? Even $1,000 in debt, they want you to pay $100 a month for 4 years. Why? Right? So understand that this is where priorities come in again. What is important to you? What are you spending money on? And what are you doing to bring income in while you're going through this 4-year to 5-year window to be successful on the other end? If you can figure that out and prioritize that and manage your time properly, the finance side comes into play. Now, I promise I didn't want to stay on here very long, so I'm going to end with that. This week, financial literacy, there's a few steps in there. There's some budgeting in there. Go through it. Again, if you're staying on top of the very few things that we do in this class, the student learning outcomes, then you are going to have an easy A walking out. And with that being said, we will talk soon. Email me with any questions. And thanks, guys.